Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In WebLogic class, today we are going to discuss about Node Manager. So in this session, we will understand the configure WebLogic server machine and also how to set up and configure Node Manager and how we can start manage server through Node Manager. And also we understand the important files of Node Manager. So let's understand about the Node Manager. Node Manager is a WebLogic server utility that can remotely start and stop the administration server or manage server. When we associate a manage server or admin server with a node manager, then we can manage or control that manage server from a node manager. Okay. And also node manager can monitor the health of an instance of WebLogic server and automatically restart if it get fails. Okay. And also the node manager run as a separate process on same machine as instance of WebLogic server. We will see the process of a node manager on a same machine. And node manager is available as either Java based or a script based process. By default, Java based node manager is created and we use a Java based node manager only. A node manager can be set up as an operating system service to start automatically when a system is rebooted. Which means we can set node manager as a daemon service and it would be started when server gets rebooted. Okay, so now let's understand the types of node manager. So here we have two types of node manager. One is Java based node manager and another is a script based node manager. So Java-based node manager run within its own Java virtual machine, and this is a default node manager created when we create a machine. And this kind of node manager run on any operating system that runs WebLogic server, and this can use secure SSL configuration if desired. And another is a script-based node manager, and that run in its own process. So this is have a complete on process and available only for Unix or Linux system and uses remote shell or uh, secure cells. Okay, so most of the time or mostly we use a Java based node manager only. Now let's understand the architecture of a node manager. So here we have a node manager per machine that call a per machine. So one node manager per machine and that one node manager can control multiple servers on a multiple domains. So we can manage a multiple domains from a single node manager. So here let's understand this example. We have a one machine where we have created two domain A, domain B, and domain A have its own managed server, domain B have its own managed server, and these managed server are controlled by a single node manager. And another kind of architecture is a per domain. So per domain architecture talk about one Java based node manager per domain. And here let's understand we have one machine and there we created a multiple domain, but each domain is associated with a on node manager. So we have a domain A and on domain A is having a node manager A as well. And similarly domain B is having a node manager domain B and all the operation or control of managed server will be done by on node manager, and this node manager is having its own configuration. Okay, now let's understand how the node manager start a managed server. When we created and configure a node manager or console, then we perform a start operation. So how it's going to start the manage server? So we are on a suppose we are on a admin console and we choose one particular server. Here let's suppose we want to start a server A2 and server A2 is a part of a domain which is there on a machine A. As we send a request and request go to the admin and admin server then send a request to the node manager and node manager create a process and start server. So here basically to start server A2 node manager must be in active mode and a running mode. Then only we can start a server A2 and then admin server take the latest configuration as usual from the server or manage server directly and we can see on a console. So when we see the console, I'll show all these things on the console as well. And I understand like how the node manager can help shut down a managed server. Similarly, in from the console, we can log in the console and go to the server and we want to perform a shutdown operation. So we choose a server. Here we suppose we want to shut down server A1. So we choose a server A1 and we click on shutdown. Then request go to admin server. Here admin server can send a shutdown request directly to the server A1. Okay. If the server is unreachable or when the server is become unreachable and shutdown request is sent, server become unreachable, admin server cannot connect the server A1. So then the admin server can send a request to the node manager for a shutdown. So node manager then issue OS command to kill the server's process directly. Okay. So when server is unreachable, then admin server can connect to the node manager if my node manager is active mode and node manager will issue a OS command to kill the server process. So OS command will kill the OS process and that's how server got shut down. Okay, so let's now try to understand how we can configure the node manager. So node manager we can configure using the configuration wizard or after creating a domain we can configure it from the console as well. Suppose in this case we want to configure the node manager while creating a domain. And while creating a domain on optional configuration page, we will find uh, configure node manager. So we choose this node manager option and then next page will come to configure a node manager. So here we have a configuration wizard and node manager. So there we can see the node manager type. By default, node manager type is per domain, and we'll go with per domain, and it's a Java-based node manager. And if you want to change the node manager home, so we can update the node manager home here, or else it will keep the default within a domain home. Okay, and also we can provide the node manager credential and node manager credential used by a client or we can say admin server or WLST to access node manager. Okay, now let's understand the configuring the Java based node manager. Okay, if we want to configure the Java based node manager from the console, so first of all we need to define the machine. So machine represent each computer. After defining the machine, inside the machine we will have option to assign the server to the machine and to configure the node manager type whether it's a plain or SSL or node manager listen address or listen port that we can configure it. Okay, and also for each managed server we have a option to set their start parameter monitoring or restart parameter which is used by a node manager. In a console we can set all these parameters. So if you are not setting, it will take a default values as well. Okay. So configuring the Java-based node manager. So here is an example how we can configure. So we have some important configuration file like node manager.property file and node manager.property files. These are the following property which need to be set accordingly. Listen address and listen port. Let's see this on the server directly. So let me go to the server. Here I am in home domain home and in Win directory. Here we have the start stop command. And for start with the node manager, we have a start node manager dot property file. And for stop, we have a stop node manager dot property stop node manager dot sh command. Okay. So I think am already the WebLogic is already running. So let me stop running WebLogic using stop WebLogic dot sh. Then I will start it and I'll do it a fresh configuration. Okay. Stop the WebLogic. Let me stop the node manager as well if it is already running. Okay, so I have stopped it. Now let me start WebLogic and let me start WebLogic in a background. So I'm using this ampersand sign. Okay, here my WebLogic admin server is going to start. Yeah, it is showing in a running state now. Let me go to the console and let me refresh this page. Okay, so let me log in now. Okay, so once we log in, we will have all the configurations detail here. So either we can go in a domain structure or we can go from the home page. Okay, so let me clean up all the servers once. Or let it be there. I have already one machine two machine two. Let me click on lock and edit. So once we click on lock and edit, my console come in edit mode and I'm going to delete the already running managed server. And also let me go to the environment and machine. Let me unassociate all the servers and remove this admin server from the machine. So I'll create a new machine and I'll show you all the configuration process from the beginning. Okay. Now let me go to the machine again and now delete the machine. Okay, I have deleted machine and we active the changes. Okay, so now my console is completely fresh. I have only one server, that is the admin server running. Okay, so guys, let me do one thing now. We want to create a node manager, so we have to define machine first. So machine represent a server itself. In environment, there is a option called machine. Once we click on machine, first we need to click on lock and edit. Now my console is in edit mode. So now I see the button called new and we create a new machine. And I'm going to create a new machine one. Okay. So here in this page, we will see the node manager properties. So we need to define all these properties file or we can keep the default one. We want the SSL or plain text. So if you want the plain text, so we can keep a plain text here, or you want the SSL, so we can keep the SSL. Okay. So let's go with the default properties now and listen address. We can define localhost If this machine is running on the same server where admin is running, so we can choose localhost, or we can type the IP address of the server, yeah, in the listen port, and this is listen port for the machine. So let me finish the default value and machine is created. Now I'm inside my machine, and here I'll see the node manager property file. I click on monitoring, I'll see the inactive. I click on configuration again, and I can add the manage server or admin server to this machine. So let me click on add. Here I am seeing only one uh, server, that is admin server, because we don't have other servers created yet. So let me add this one as well. Okay, so I added admin server to this machine, and let me activate the changes. Okay, so see, my machine is created and it is showing in inactive mode. Let me start node manager now. Okay, so I'm starting node manager. Start node manager dot sh command, and let me start background. Okay, so here we can see a secure socket listener started, and it is started on port, and it is started on this host IP, and this is my host name IP address of server. Let me see if it is showing as a reachable or non-reachable. Yeah. So here we can see the node manager is reachable now, and now we can able to manage or control the admin server or manage server, which are part of this machine. Okay. So one more thing I just want to let you know. Here, as of now, I'm using a secure socket listener, and that is started on port 256, and this is my IP address. Okay, and if you want to change this node manager type from secure or from SSL to plain text, so we need to go to the configuration and node manager, and here we can change it. Once we click on edit, we change it, or we want to change the IP address. It is localhost. So we can change the IP address also. And once we have done any changes on this console, and there is a difference in the configuration file of Node Manager. So before talking about that, let's understand the important files of Node Manager. So by default, the Node Manager home is inside the domain home. There is a Node Manager folder, and that is the Node Manager home. And inside the Node Manager home, we'll see the files uh, node manager dot domain and a node manager dot property file. These are two important files, and the remaining files are created when we start the node manager, like node manager dot log or node manager dot log or log. These files are created when the node manager is started. Okay, so let's try to understand all these files, and then we will go ahead. So node manager files are under the node manager home directory. Node manager.properties. This file defines configuration setting for a Java-based node manager process. Okay. And node manager.domains specify a domain that the node manager instance node manager instance controls. Okay. So we'll see all the node manager domains. Here we will see this node manager is part of which domain. So we can check in node manager.domains file. Okay. And another file is node manager log, and this is basically used by a running node manager, okay, to log information about its work. As I mentioned, when we started the node manager, log file is created. And there are node manager uh, name password.property file, and this store the encrypted node manager username or password that the node manager client uses to authenticate itself to node manager. So this property file is basically inside domains home, config and node manager directory. So let me show you that file also. Right now I'm in node manager home. Let's go to the domain home, then the config, and there is a one more folder node manager. In here we will see node manager property file, and that is the password, encrypted password that we have given while creating a domain. These are the important files which we need to understand, and we can view as per our requirements if we need to take or we want to update anything in the configuration file. Okay, so let me go to the node manager home, and let's try to understand the important file which is node manager.property file. So here, if you have updated anything on the console, as I mentioned, like your type, your listen address, or listen port, this also should be updated, and your node manager property file and your console details should be same. So listen address, you can see here it should be same, and listen port, you can keep it the same as we have configured on console. And here one more option is secure listener is true. It means that the node manager type we have choose is SSH, or not SSL, sorry, it's SSL. And if you are choosing SSL, so secure listen is true. If you are choosing this plain text, so it should be a false. So secure listener should be a false. By default, I'm choosing this one as a secure. Okay, and if we change this from SSL to the plain text, then we need to change here as well. Okay, so we need to change here as well. We have changed this one, so let me change that properties from true to secure, false. So this one should be false, right? Now, a node manager and admin console will communicate in a plain text. Let me go to the bin directory again, and let me just take start stop of a node manager. Stop node manager is the command to stop node manager, and start node manager command to start node manager. So here we see node manager started as a plain socket listener on this port and this host. Okay, and let me see the status now. Screen inactive. Let me see my admin server configuration. Listen port enable. Yes. Okay, so let me see again. Whether it is updated or not. It is showing inactive. Let me try to stop the WebLogic as well. Check. Okay, let me start WebLogic again. Okay, so WebLogic had started. Let me refresh. Okay, let me log in WebLogic console. So once I log into WebLogic, I'll go to the machine and I'll see, yeah, it is reachable. Okay, so I need to go to environment machine. Mhm. Yeah, so that is how we can create and configure a machine and a node manager. And now let's go to the servers. And let me create a new server and let me click on edit new and let me create a MS1 manage server and change the port number 1 and let me keep the host name or the IP address of my server. And this is a MS1 and I'm going to create this as a standalone. So I'm choosing this no. Okay. So when we create a manage server, we would be asked whether we want to create a standalone or we want to create a cluster. If you want to create a cluster, we can go with the second option. If you want to create a standalone, we can go with a standalone. Create a cluster later. So let's go with this standalone now. We go to next and we'll see the summary and finish it. So let me create MS2, one more managed server, and let me update the port, and this is the IP, and this is also I'm going to create as a standalone. Okay, I have created two managed server here. Uh, server, okay, MS2, I keep it M2. So it's not an issue, it's just a name. We can create a different one or we can give this name. Use this name as well and server MS1 as well. So here we'll see, we can see the configuration type is configuration and we since we configure, so showing as configure type and there is no cluster, so it's not showing any cluster detail. And machine, yes, these servers are not yet part of any machine, so it is showing blind. Once the server is become part of machine, so you will see the machine name here and the status of managed server, health of the managed server, and their listen port. Okay, so now let's go to the machine. If you want to manage or control the managed server from the node manager, so we must need to add these servers into the node manager. So inside the machine, go to the configuration and servers. Let's click on add, and here we will see the list of the servers. So let me add both the servers now. Okay. So I'm going to add the server. So I can see three servers have been added. One admin server, two managed servers. Let me click on activate changes. Okay. So now we have a managed servers, data and admin server, and we have to configure machine. So now let's check the start stop process as I mentioned. What how the node manager help in starting and stop servers. See this one, I'm inside the summary of the servers and I need to go to control. Here we can choose which managed server we want to start. So for starting managed server, we can choose it and click on the start button. For starting operation, the admin server, when we send a command from the console, we just go to the admin server. And from admin server, it go to the node manager. So node manager must be started. Then you will see this options here. Okay. So let me start now. And I can see the status is starting, right? So my managed server is starting. And once it is started, it will show a running. Let me refresh. Yeah. Here we can see the state is running. Okay, so it means my manage server has started. Now let me try to stop the node manager. Okay, stop node manager. I have stopped the node manager. If I want to start the server MS2, which is also part of the same machine, right? But I will not be able to start it because for starting in manage server, node manager must be started. Now it is showing server M2, node manager associated with machine 1 is not reachable. So that machine is not reachable as we have stopped the node manager. Okay, so that's the difference. But if you want to shut down this managed server which is already running, for shutdown, admin server directly send request to the managed server if it is reachable. So let me click on shutdown. So now we'll see it is sending the command shutdown to the managed server directly. So it will show the status here. And for taking the status, admin server directly connect to the managed server and obtain the current status. Here you see, I'm able to stop the server MS1 if my node manager is down, but I cannot start the server 2 if my node manager is down. Okay, so now let me start the node manager again and we'll see if we are able to start the MS2. This time let me start the MS2. So here I'm going to start my server 2. It's giving me option or it is started. Okay, and I can start my server 1 as well. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm able to start both the managed server successfully from the admin server since my node manager is started, and I have already covered up both the process start and stop. Okay, and how node manager basically play role in starting a managed server and in stopping a managed server. Okay, so that's it for this lecture, guys. We'll see you in next session. Thank you.